So let's get right into it with Alan. So this is the time of year where people are starting to wind down a little bit just before the holiday parties, but wedding wise, we're winding down. And this is where I believe you should really do some retrospective, take a good look at yourself in the mirror, marketing wise, and figure out what do you need to clean up? What do you kind of have to dot the I's, cross the T's, put a fresh coat of paint on the house, so to speak, and go from there. So let's let's just get right into it. What advice can you give people to I'm sorry, I was shrinking my screen. What advice can you give, or like a checklist for wedding vendors to prepare for 2025?
So I just want to know first, Casey, is this the all beards episode? Is that
I
what
think
this is?
so. I
Okay,
think
how about do you
so.
have glasses? Because that's the only thing missing. Everybody's got beards and glasses. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking there. So
Well, next week this gets bleached white, so I'll be Santa. Next week I'll still be in regular, but then after that for like 3 weeks it'll be all white, and I'll be Casey Claus. So
okay, there you go. A little more
yeah.
frost in there. All
Hmm.
right. So, during the year and during season, people always complain, I don't have the time. I don't have the time. I don't have the time. I don't have the time to update my website. I don't have the time to reevaluate what I'm doing. And now you have the time, so you really have no excuses. Or I should say, you can make excuses, but it's really about priorities. Engagement season is coming up. Next week is Thanksgiving here in the States. If you're up in Canada, it was last month, but it's in the States, it's Thanksgiving. And that's the beginning officially of engagement season, right? People are getting engaged all year long, but that's the beginning of it. So are you ready in every touch point? We want to be as close as possible to what's called the ZMOT, the zero moment of truth. And that's when someone realizes that they need your service. So when people are getting engaged, the first thing they realize might not be that they need entertainment. It might be, I need a venue, I need a church or a house of worship, I need an officiant, I need a dress, right? It might be that. But at some point, certainly by the beginning of the year, a lot of people are going to be realizing we need entertainment for our weddings. Now, are you where they are when they're looking for someone like you? Now, that could be Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, The Knot, Wedding Wire, Zola, go down the line. It could be any of these places. One thing you want to make sure is that whatever platform you're on, you are putting your best foot forward. So now is the time to upgrade your photos, update those things. I go onto sites when I'm doing presentations and I'll see, people have a photo of a banquet room with a gobo, and it'll have a date of the wedding on it from 2017. Like, come on, guys, just update this stuff. Show the results of doing business with you wherever you're doing this. If you're selling DJ services or photo booths or lighting, you're selling a commodity. If you're selling the results that only you can provide, they can't buy that anywhere else at any price. So make sure that you're putting your best foot forward and showing photos of the results of doing business with you, which is not your equipment. It's not you behind your controller. Hey, that's me. No, right? You're not. This is not club DJ stuff where you're going to be on a billboard in Vegas and people are coming to see you. This is about them. So if you want to show you across a dance floor that's packed with people getting, having a wonderful time at a wedding, and you're making this happen, right? The four things you want to make sure you have on every marketing piece, every page of your website, and you want to show on your social are aspirational images that show the results of doing business with you. So will people aspire to jump into that photo and say, hey, we're going to look like that on our wedding day because we're going to be that happy, right? Talk about them and the results of choosing you. Let's face it, they care more about their experience than your experience. Your experience makes their experience great, but if you talk about your experience without talking about theirs, somebody else is going to make the sale instead, okay? And then the third thing is social proof. Social proof is taking pieces of reviews, testimonials, thank you notes, texts that you've been sent, so social posts that people have made, and highlighting those to show what the results actually are. Because if you think about this, when you talk on your website, when you talk in your marketing pieces, you're talking about what you can do for someone. Reviews and testimonials talk about what you did do. That is your brand. Branding, that's colors, logos. Here, I'll get it in my picture here. There you go. There's my logo, right? My logo over across my shoulder. There's my books. That's branding, right? Put my 11 books behind me. That's branding. That's not my brand. My brand is if you say to Casey or if you say to Nick or Hapa or John, tell me about this guy, Alan Berg. I've never seen him. Tell me about him. Whatever you say next, that's my brand. So your reviews, your testimonials is your brand. But you don't want to put a whole paragraph up because nobody wants to read that. You want to pull out, I call them speed bumps, pull out this sentence, pull out this phrase out of a testimonial and keep putting them throughout your website, throughout your marketing pieces. Like when you have pricing on a pricing page or on a web page, have testimonials that say, best decision I ever made, worth every penny, I would have paid double, right? Things like that people have said. And then the fourth is the call to action, which is telling them what to do to get that result and making it easy to do that. So if you tell them, call me, email me, text me, use this short form. That's what I do on my website. Click here to live chat with us. Here's my WhatsApp, here, whatever it is. Make sure you're paying attention to every channel that they can reach out to you with. So if you have a place on Instagram, if you're posting on Instagram, you better be paying attention to Instagram messaging. If you're on TikTok messaging, you better make sure you're paying attention to that. Because if someone reaches out and you don't get back to them at all, forget it, you've lost the opportunity. But if you don't get back to them quickly, somebody else will. Because we know from the stats that about half of couples end up choosing the first one who gets back to them. So you need to be quick, but you also need to make it personal. I mean, if you've been to Marquee show or if you've been to Wedding MBA or any of those, or read some of my books, I talk about ghosting a lot. And I spoke at Wedding MBA this year about fake leads. And a lot of people just assume that a ghost is a fake lead. And the truth is, you don't know. You have no evidence whatsoever to know that that's a fake lead because someone filled out your contact form or messaged you through social or through an ad that you have, and they didn't respond to what you said. And the best response I've ever seen to this was it was a Facebook message somebody put up just complaining about ghosting. And you know what happens then? Everybody piles on. It's like rugby, right? The scrum happens. Everybody piles on there. And one guy about 17 things down wrote, they didn't ghost the one they booked. It's like, oh, so true. So true. I actually, at MBA, I put up a picture of a bride doing a mic drop, right? Because like, there you go. But it's true. And the reality is, if they don't like the way you're responding to them, they're going to ghost you. And somebody else does it differently, right? And I was going to say better, but I'm going to say differently because it might be better for that couple. It might not be better for the next couple. Nothing works all the time, right? But almost everything works some of the time, but nothing works all the time. And I did put up a bunch of testimonials from people that have tried things differently, and now it's working for them. So if you are doing what you did last year, the year before, and wondering why you're getting ghosted now, it's because it isn't 2020, 21, 22, or 23. It's 24 going into 25. And you're getting with Gen Y and Gen Z, and Gen Y is phone-averse, and Gen Z is even more phone-averse. And what I see, because we do a lot of secret shopping, I mean, Casey, you know this, I've spoken about this at Marquee. We've shopped over 500 companies between last year and this year alone. Get this, 17% of the companies we shopped never replied. We filled out their contact form on their website. 17%, nothing, zero. So I had my assistant reshop the 17%. Sometimes it's a tech issue, sometimes whatever, right? A third of them didn't reply a second time. Imagine that. Went to their website twice, filled out their contact form twice, got nothing, right? But the other thing is half of the companies, actually 52% of the companies, send one reply and then they stop. That's it. So I'm going to ask everybody listening a question. Who are you ghosting right now? Right? Hapa, you're ghosting somebody. Nick, you're ghosting somebody. I'm ghosting. Casey, we're all ghosting somebody. People we want to get back to, but you're not a priority right now. So the fact that they filled out your contact form and you responded, something else could get in the way right now. Work, family health, pet, right? All these things. So we're all ghosting someone right now. So what happens every time you send someone a message? Goes to the top of their inbox. I don't care what inbox it is. WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, just goes to the top of their inbox. Why would you not pop yourself back up to the top of their inbox again and again until they tell you yes or no? Because the biggest opportunity everybody here has, including me, is people that have reached out that have not yet said no. That's the biggest opportunity. Because think about this. What would it take for you to get a new inquiry? More advertising, more networking, more marketing, more effort. What would it take to follow up again with people that have already inquired? Just effort. That's all it is. That's all it is effort. And I can tell you, I did a workshop in Vegas, and DJ Marek came from South Dakota. And Marek has been to workshops with me before that I've done. And when he first came to my workshops, he was following up once or twice. Marek, I don't know if you're listening, but following up once or twice. This time, we shopped everybody that came to the workshop 10 times. I stopped counting at 10 times that he followed up. And I asked him in front of the group, I said, okay, so do people still respond to your 5th? Yes. 6th? Yes. 7th? Yes. 8th? Yes. 9th? 10th? Yes. Right? So why would you stop at 3? Or I should say 1. Half the people stop at 1. Why would you stop at 1 or 2? 2/3 stop at 2, then it goes to 3, right? Keeps going down and down. When here's Marek getting response at 8, 9, and 10, because it's so much easier to just put the effort into that than to try to get a new lead. So right now, what I want you to do is think about now, between now and the end of the year, revamp your response, the way you respond to people. Make sure that it fits on one screen of a smartphone, your first response. Gosh, I see some of these responses that are 3 and 4 screens long, and I'm like, Casey, I want to grow hair to pull it out. You know that feeling, right? So if you think about it, who wants to read something more than one screen? Now, some people will. Some people will read everything you wrote. But most of us take our phone, we look at it and we go, okay, who sent it? That's the first thing. What's the subject line? We scan. What is this about? Do I want to take a look at this now? And how many times have we said, I'm going to mark that unread. I'll get back to that later. Right? Like every day. We do this every day. So how do you be the one that gets read? Well, make it short enough that they can fit it on one screen. And when you end with one question, they know that you're waiting for a response. Most people end with, I look forward to hearing from you. Can't wait to make your wedding great, or something like that ends with a period or an exclamation point. Periods and exclamation points are ending conversations. Questions continue conversations. The easiest tip is do that. So the first thing is, does your response fit on one screen of a phone? How do you know? BCC yourself for about a week on everything you send to people, and then look on your phone and go, wow, that didn't look so long on my desktop, but looks kind of long on my phone, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is, when are you following up? I should say, are you following up? And then what's your plan to follow up better? Now, does that include maybe hiring a virtual assistant or hiring somebody off-site to follow up for you because you're too busy, right? I should never be too busy to follow up with someone who makes a new inquiry. Never be too busy. I actually just created my own cadence of things. When you come to a conference, I have this survey that I put up, and you scan a QR code, give me some feedback, and then you can say, I'm interested in sales training, website review, consulting, whatever. And if you do, it triggers a 6 or 7 email string that is going to go out again and again and again, different things, if you don't reply. Once you reply, it turns it off. But if you do, and I have so much feedback already just from Wedding MBA from people that have done that I'm going back and forth. But you know what? Some of them didn't reply until the 3rd email. And that was now. I have still the 4th and the 5th going.
I have a couple coming in tomorrow that I started emailing back in June, and it's November.
Right.
And just because I thought they were ready to shop in June doesn't mean that they were. But again, I use DJ Event Planner, and I have a cadence that keeps going. And after the initial, yes, we'd love to get you in, it becomes informational. This is just what I choose to do. We have a Spotify playlist. Here's father-daughter dance suggestions, mother-son suggestions. Here's intro suggestions. Here's ideas about toasts. They're just all educational. It's kind of saying, hey, we're still here.
Right. And what I would do is I would mix in every once in a while, I would mix in one that's just one question.
Right.
Are you still looking for a fun DJ to make your wedding great? Are you still looking for a creative entertainment company to make your wedding memorable? One sentence, no pictures, nothing else, just that, because we are big people. We can take yeses and nos. Because here's the truth. You cannot fulfill everybody that inquires. Right. If everybody who inquired said yes, you can't do the work. Right. Sometimes because it's right? Sometimes it's the same date, you're already booked, and sometimes it's just, think about it. If you're closing 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, even 3 out of 5, you couldn't close them all because if you did, you can't fulfill the work. Right. So we're supposed to get no's because of price or availability. Keep going. Sure. Yeah.
I was in mass on Sunday, and the priest was talking about the powers of yeses and nos in life. And he tells this story. There's a very mean man. He was terrible to his wife, horrible. He was a farmer, horrible to his donkey. Finally, his donkey got angry enough. He kicked the man to death. At the funeral, all of the men were lining up on the right-hand side to share their condolences with the wife, and the priest in the back of the room kept seeing, the wife just kept saying, yes, thank you, yes, thank you, yes, thank you, yes, thank you. And then all the ladies were on the left-hand side coming around, and he kept hearing them say, no, I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry. Finally, the priest said, I have to ask, what was it? And she said, all the men kept coming up and saying, I'm very sorry for your loss. Are you doing okay? And she said, yes, thank you. And all of the women kept coming up and going, would you be willing to sell your donkey? And the answer was no, and I'm sorry. So it was, I really like it. It's good. It was a good
power of yes and no.
Yes, absolutely.
So what you want to do is you want to set yourself up to get better inquiries. And I hear this from people all the time. I want quality leads. I want quality leads, quality leads. If you're getting ghosted, you don't know if it's a quality lead or not because you got ghosted. And what I want everybody to do is go find a mirror and go look in the mirror. And that's where the problem is. You have to 100%. Take responsibility for that and say, if I'm not getting responses, it's because of what I'm doing. It's not them, it's me. Right?
We are all our biggest strength and our biggest weakness.
Right. But when you take responsibility for that and you say, I'm going to try something different, that's when you can get a different response. And so that's the first thing, is to say, if I'm getting ghosted too much, and listen, I wish I could say you're going to get 100% responses if you do what I tell you. I can't promise you that. I do what I teach you, and I don't get 100% responses, but I will follow up again and again, and I'll try something differently. I'll actually give you an example. Somebody found me on Google, and Casey, I'm really looking for people looking for me, not for somebody like me, for me. And that is the best thing for all of us. Like Hapa, if they're looking for you, there is no other Hapa, right? That's it. They have to hire Hapa. So if they're looking for me, it's because they want my results. Well, these people found me on Google. Hey, cool. SEO worked. There you go. And I'm surprised because I've been in the industry a long time. I've written 11 books. I was VP of sales at the Knot. I've been out on the speaking circuit for 13 years independently, right? But they found me through a Google search. And we went back and forth once or twice. I did not ask for the phone call right away. They asked for the phone call. We get on a call. Talking to the boss, this was actually kind of funny because we were going back and forth, and he said, okay, so how much is this going to be? And I told him, and he said, so if I tell you yes right now, you'll do it for this, which was $2,000 less than the price I quoted him. Now, I'm doing sales training. So I said to him, Jimmy, I'm sure you want me to teach your people not to discount your services. And I let that sit for a second. I could hear him smiling. You can hear somebody smiling on the phone. I could hear him smiling. He said, yeah, but that doesn't mean I don't want a discount. I said, I get it, but I'm sure this is what you want me to teach. This is what it costs for me to come and spend the day, right? Now, we don't discount unless we get something of value in return. Well, he had nothing of value to offer except the yes. So he said, well, then I guess we're going to have to do more research. I said, then please do more research. And I'll follow up with you. So I followed up, email, don't hear back, email, don't hear back. And that wasn't his email. It was their marketing person. I do that a bunch of times. I stalked him on, I found his last name. I stalked him on LinkedIn. I guessed at his email address based upon the other person's email. It got bounced. I guessed at another one. It didn't get bounced. Okay. Didn't hear back. So right before I left for Wedding MBA, I wrote him a letter, which was basically what I had in the email saying, I've secret shopped your venue. I've secret shopped your catering company. Your venue followed up twice and stopped. Your catering company gave up after one. You're definitely leaving money on the table. I can make this work. And if I help you sell one more wedding, you've paid for me. But then I included a flashlight like this in the box. And I said, I included a flashlight here because sales training for your team is a bright idea that will pay dividends now and in the future. And I put that in a box and I mailed it to him. And I know it was received because I have the tracking. Didn't hear back, emailed, didn't hear back. Called yesterday, left a message, and today I got an email back. They're interested. It's a little out of their budget. So I proposed, how about we split that with another venue? We'll do the two of you. And they're like, oh yeah, we're in on that. So now I'm just trying to get the yes from the other venue. Try something different. Try something out of the box. Okay. So look at if you're getting ghosted. Try something that's different. How many times are you really following up? I don't mean you tell me you're following up. I mean really following up. And set up a system so that at the busiest time of the year, you'll be following up this way with people. Not the slowest time, the busiest time. I'm talking whatever your busiest month is, your leads are going to get followed up this many times. And then do like KC, which is follow up again, follow up again. My son got engaged a year ago, November, so a year ago now, and was going to get married quickly in March. March became June, June became July, July became September, right? Casey, you're talking to somebody from June, right?
Yeah, and it's for June of next year,
right?
I believe so.
And I hear this from people all the time. So Richie Stedman, who started me on my podcast, is a DJ in Utah. And one weekend, he went back to months worth of leads. He heard the podcast that I did about following up. Months, not this week, last week, months worth of leads. Followed up and booked 5 weddings. And every one of those couples apologized to him for not having gotten back to him, because there's always something, right? It was school, we were buying a house, it was whatever, we got ahead of ourselves, we didn't have all the other stuff done with the venue, whatever it was. But he was following up again. He books 5 weddings. So how many weddings could you book from people that have already reached out?
Sure. So, okay. So now we've talked about once they kind of inquire, what would you say are some of the kind of the top 3 things people should be doing from now until January to maybe look at their marketing to maximize their marketing for 2025? Right.
So the first thing is just remember, if you're looking for the free and cheap way of doing everything, don't be surprised when people are looking for that from you.
Right.
Okay. You have to invest in yourself the way you want other people to invest in you. That's why I did a podcast recently about why I have one more. I'm attending 4 speaker conferences this year. 4, right? The next one, if I sign up for it, that's in March, my ticket at the early bird is $1,700, right? And I hear people in our industry complaining that it's $99 or $249 or $299 or something to go. And that's just one of my conferences. Oh, and that doesn't include airfare and hotel and everything else, right? That's just one of mine. I'm spending 5 figures, regardless of the acronyms after my name. I'm investing in my business that way. So what are you doing to invest in your business? What are you doing for education? And remember, if you think you can learn everything on YouTube, you can learn something. But the best thing that happens at conference is often the person sitting next to you.
Sure.
Not even the person on stage. So that's the first thing. Go look at your advertising and marketing. Advertising is about the audience. That's what it is. It's not about the ad. It's about the audience. Three things that matter. Geographics. If somebody says, hey, do you want to take an ad on my website, take an ad in my wedding show, whatever, right? The first thing is geographics. So Casey, you have the Windy City Wedding Show. Where do people come from? Do they come down from Wisconsin? Do they come in from, northern Indiana, right? Where do they come from? Right. That's geographics. Then we want to look at demographics. Who are they? Well, obviously, they're people that are engaged at a wedding show, but if it's on Facebook or Instagram or one of those other things, it's people, right? How many of those people are actually status of engaged in the age range that you want? And then what else do you know about them? Is it their age, income, sexual orientation? Is it their ethnicity? Is it a certain religious thing? Who do you specialize in or whatever? What do you know about those people? And then the third is psychographics. Why do people who otherwise geographically and demographically look the same choose you or choose somebody else? And it could be you both went to the same school. It could be that you both love dogs. It could be that you both love Taylor Swift, right? Whatever it is, but people choose you over someone else that looks the same on paper because of X. And if you can figure that X out, you will know the avatar of your ideal client. And your ideal client makes it easier for you to find them because you can't hit a target you can't see. So if you just say, I'm looking for engaged couples, that's too wide of a target.
Right.
And narrowing your niche makes you more valuable to customers. Right? When I narrowed my niche to the wedding and event industry, it elevated my expertise. So of my 11 books, 8 of them are written for the wedding and event industry because that is what I focus on. So if somebody's looking for someone who can, speak about sales, there's a ton of people that speak about sales. If they can speak about sales to the wedding and event industry, there's some people that do that. But who else has written a book for the wedding and event industry for professional DJs? Not many people, right?
Right.
So therefore it elevates that. So narrowing your niche and saying, hey, I'm the DJ for, people that are, Brazilian and need someone who's, bilingual in Portuguese and whatever. Or I'm the one for non-binary weddings, or I'm the, whatever it is. Can
Right.
you be the go-to for that?
Sure.
The imagery has to reflect that. So
Very
on your
good.
ads, on your social, on everything you do, the imagery has to do that. Update that.
Cool.
Reviews. Reviews are very important because reviews talk about what you actually have done. So are you getting recent reviews? Have you gotten recent reviews from couples? Because people care what you did 3 weeks or 3 months ago, not 3 years ago. The 4 things that matter for reviews are the number of reviews, the score, the recency, and replying. So if you have not been replying to reviews, go back and reply to the first 10 or so. Couples read on average 5 to 7 reviews for DJs, 7 to 9 for photographers and venues, but 5 to 7 for DJs. So go to the Knot, Wedding Wire, Google, Facebook, wherever you have reviews, Yelp, and start responding to those if you've not been doing it, because people that respond to reviews have the ability to put their own personality into that conversation. When a couple says, oh my gosh, Nick, it was amazing, and you get to say, thank you so much for letting me be a part of your day, and mention something specific about them. No generic responses, very specific. Now it endears you to that next person going, wow, Nick sounds really great, right? They said he was great, but Nick sounds really great too. Your voice is in there. So it allows you to do that. So that's another thing to do now, is start responding to reviews and respond to new ones. If you want to get the best of weddings on the Knot, if you want to get Couples Choice, it's Couples Choice on Wedding Wire, best of weddings on the Knot, anybody else that's got awards, it's based on reviews.
And I just got an
reviews.
email. I think that they're pushing, the Knot's pushing for you to do it so that they can do their thing, and
right?
I think they're
because
in that season.
It's calendar year. It's calendar year. Now, here's the secret. When you go back to people, don't say, can you post a review?
Right.
Be very, very specific. Go back to them and, first of all, thank them. Thank them for allowing you to be part of their day, because it is a privilege that you were able to be part of their day, because nobody else got that privilege. Saying yes to you was saying no to everybody else. Think about that.
Right.
Every time you're at a gig, they've said no to everybody else. That is a privilege every single time. And then ask them, could you do me a favor? Help me show other couples what I can do for them. I'm trying to qualify for the best of weddings on the Knot. I'm trying to qualify for Couples Choice on Wedding Wire, whatever. And I need one more recent review this week. Could you be my review? Right? Very, very specific. You will get more people doing it because it's so specific, as opposed to, yeah, we love you. We love you, Hapa. We're going to do it. And then something else gets in the way. Right? I mean, I've personally posted over 670 reviews on TripAdvisor. Ooh. If I had posted every review for every restaurant I've ever done, it would be thousands, because I travel so much that I'm eating out, 2 meals a day. So I don't post everyone, but I've still posted over 670.
Sure.
So other ones that I want to do, sometimes I have to get reminded. So don't ask them once, ask them again, ask them again. One of my clients has 30 wedding venues, and the venue that got the most responses, most reviews, the person was texting 2 days after the wedding, 2 weeks if they didn't hear back, and 2 more. Think about that. 2 days after the wedding, where are they? Right? I say toes in the sand, toes in the sand, margarita in the hand, right? That's where they are. And they're getting reviews 2 days. They're getting reviews at 2 weeks. They're getting reviews at 4 weeks. So if you're asking once and stopping, ask again.
Sure.
Ask differently. Be very specific about that. I think Casey, last year at Marquee, I was talking with David Rothstein, who's got a band in Chicago, and I told him that, and then he immediately went and did that. And that day he got a review from somebody. That's just great. By being specific, saying, I'm trying to qualify for best of weddings, Couples Choice, whatever, something like that.
Excellent.